when you were encouraging people to, make sure they have the right Jesus, make sure they have the right spirit, the right gospel. And Paul the Apostle was very clear with us in 2 Corinthians 11, verse 4. It says, "For if he that cometh preacheth another Jesus, whom we have not preached, or if ye receive another spirit which ye have not received, or another gospel which ye have not accepted, ye might well bear with him." And in verses 13, 14, and 15 of the same chapter, it says, "But such are false apostles, deceitful workers, transforming themselves into the apostles of Christ, and no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light." And we need to talk about Metatron, and I want you to talk about Metatron after this. "Therefore it is no great thing if his ministers also be transformed as ministers of righteousness, and shall be according to their works." And when I read this now with the information, I'm thinking, yes, of course, there can be all kinds of false doctrine teachers. We know that's prolific right now. We know that there's millions of people all saying, "Thus saith the Lord," and this is what the Lord showed me, and they're getting a false light. But Paul is very significantly, this is during a rich Jewish culture. Of course, Corinth was Greek, but he's talking about apostles, deceitful workers, false apostles, deceitful workers, transforming them into angels of light. And I think a lot of people have not heard about who Metatron is. And this is so important, because what Tony brought up about an Antichrist, or the Antichrist, or their version of Messiah, Mashiach. Why don't you let everybody that's listening, because I love all of your information, I'm enjoying this so much, so let everybody know who Metatron is to the Kabbalists and their prophetic future expectation.
Okay, sure. Metatron is a figure that, again, I ran across periodically in my research on the New Age movement. At that time, I read it, and then I just didn't really understand what a central role that he has in Kabbalah. So as I just dug more into that part of my research, what I'll do is I'll start with, if you read the back description on the back cover of my book, I say that if you follow this mystical Judaism, again, we're talking about the mystical Kabbalistic Judaism, it is going to take you not to the God of the Bible, but another God. So where I started was with the formation or the emanation of the Sephirot tree. And above that Sephirot tree, which I discuss in my book, there's an unknowable, ineffable God called Ein Sof. And how the Kabbalistic creation story goes is that he created Keter, which is also Elohim, which is the God of our Bible. And then from Keter come down these 9 emanations, or these spheres. In the center of the Sephirot tree is what they call Metatron's cube. And this is where Metatron stands at the center of this Sephirot tree in the Kabbalistic universe. He is the holder of the keys of knowledge. And he is the one that these mystical rabbis, or even occultists, have claimed to see him as they meditate on the Kabbalistic 72 names of God. It's interesting that there's supposedly in Kabbalah, I think it's 72 mystical names of God. Well, Metatron also has 72 different names. And in my book, I think I quote Gershom Scholem, says that all these names by the Kabbalists are intermingled, these sacred names of God and these different names of Metatron. So as they ascend, it's Metatron that they encounter on the throne. seated in this cube or in his chariot. And Metatron is considered the little Yahweh in the third book of Enoch and some of these other mystical writings. It's called Merkaba mysticism or chariot mysticism. And so, I mean, I understand. I understand how, people can be deceived in the occult, but another reason that really prompted me to write my book is because I had never seen this kind of doctrine come so boldly and so blatantly into the church. And like I talk about this book, The Return of the Kosher Pig, and it's not that I want to pick on Mr. Shapira, but he actually does list, he has Metatron in his book, The Return of the Kosher Pig, as one of the names of Messiah. This comes from Kabbalistic mystical writings. And he quotes a lot of these in his book. And so that to me is when the church is at that level and you have so many Christians following these teachings, that's a serious, serious place for the church to be today. That's a serious, serious place for the church to be today.
Yeshua! They need Yeshua! But if you bring Jesus, you bring the wrong guy. Don't bring us Jesus. But if you bring Jesus, you bring the wrong guy. Don't bring us Jesus.